This is for Year 12 Probability, Chapter 9, Continuous Probability. The essence of this is that the probability is the area under the curve, that this area in here will equal 1, and that will be the total probability. So the integral of f of x dx from a to b has to equal 1 if x is a continuous probability density function. So if I have a probability density function from a to b, and this is about f, and that's f of x, then the probability that x goes from a to b will equal the integral from a to b of f of x dx. And that will represent this particular area between the curve and the x-axis. Some definitions. Probability that x equals a has to be the integral from a to a of f of x dx, and that has to be 0. So, in a continuous probability distribution, whether you have probability that x is less than or equal to 1 or probability that x is less than 1, they're going to be the same things because x can't equal a particular value, because for that to occur, we're saying at the point A, and it isn't an area, it's a straight line below the point A. What does that look like in the set questions? Okay, in set 9.1, question 1, f of x is defined as 2x plus 1 over 12 from 0 to 3 and 0 otherwise. And I need to find the probability that x is less than or equal to 2.5, x is less than or equal to 1.5, and there's a part C and a part D. I'd like to think a little bit about this probability distribution. It's only drawn from 0 to 3. So if I see what it looks like, f of 0 will equal 0 plus 1 on 12, so 1/12. And f of 3 will equal 6 plus 1 on 12, or 7 on 12. So the function looks like 1 on 12, 7 on 12, from 0 to 3, and it's 0 otherwise. Now, the probability in A's case that x is less than 2.5 is actually that area there, from 0 to 2.5. And what's that going to look like? Well, it's going to be
Jody Miller, can you contact
integral from 0 to 2.5 of 2x on 12 plus 1 on 12 dx, which is going to equal the integral of x on 6 plus 1 12 dx from 0 to 5 on 2, which is going to equal x squared on 12 plus x on 12 from 0 to 5 on 2, which is going to equal 25 on 4 on 12 plus 5 on 2 on 12, which will equal 25 on 48 plus 5 on 24, which is 25 plus 10 on 48, 35 on 48 is my answer. Probability that x is less than or equal to 1.5 is going to equal the integral of 0 to 3 on 2 of x on 6 plus 1 on 12 dx. And that's going to be x squared on 12 plus x on 12 from 0 to 3 on 2. It's going to equal 9 on 4 on 12 plus 3 on 2 on 12, which is going to be 9 on 48 plus 3 on 24 which is 9 plus 6 on 24, which is 15 on 24, and 3 goes into 15 5 times, and 3 goes into 24 8. So 5/8 is going to be my answer. Part C asks for x is greater than or equal to 0.5, and that's the same as 1 minus the probability that x is less than 0.5, which is going to be 1 minus the integral from 0 to a half of x on 6 plus 1 on 12 dx, which will equal 1 minus x squared on 12 plus x on 12 from 0 to a half, which will equal 1 minus a quarter on 12 plus a half on 12, 1 minus 1 on 48 minus 2 on 48, which is equal to 48 minus 1 minus 2, all on 48, 45 on 48. 3 goes into that 15 times, 3 goes into that 16 times. 15 on 16 is the answer. And the last question is x greater than or equal to 2.75. That's the same as 2 3/4, which is 11/4. That's going to equal the integral from 0 to 11 on 4 of x on 6 plus 1 on 12 dx, which is going to equal x squared on 12 minus x on 12 from 0 to 11 on 4, which is going to equal 121 on 16 on 12 plus 11 on 4 on 12, which is going to equal 12 times 16 is going to equal 2, 6 is a 12, carry 1, 2 and 1 is 3, 6, 1, 2, 9, 192. So 121 on 192 plus 11 on 48, and I need to times that by another 4. So 121 plus 44 on 192, which equals 165 on 192, and that's going to be my last probability.